Namaste and welcome. It is Rishi here from meditatewithrishi.com, and today I'm going to show you how to find your purpose. This is one of the best things you can do for yourself, because ultimately when you are living on purpose, you feel fulfilled, you feel content, and what more do you want, right? So it's a really important exercise I think one should go through in their life. It's really helped me a lot to get clarity. So I want to share this with you today. And even though you may not find your purpose today, doing this exercise will be a great starting point and give you a lot of clarity. Okay, so let's get to it. The way that we're going to do it is we're going to do an exercise, and this comes from, it's nothing new, it's nothing I've made up. It is an ancient concept, the Japanese concept of ikigai. And ikigai means your reason for being. How beautiful is that? Your reason for being, If you have a reason for being, and that is what you're doing every single day, clearly, life is going to be magical, it's going to be beautiful, it's going to flow, okay? So let's get to it. We're going to do the exercise, and it's very simple. It's 4 questions, and answering these 4 questions, kind of finding the intersection of these, will give you a lot of clarity as to what your purpose could be. So the first one is what you love, okay? So doing what you love, essentially. So what you would do here is make a list of what you love. The second one is answering what are you good at. Now here, it helps to try to answer this yourself, but definitely get people that are close to you to answer this for you as well, because often there are things that you are good at which you may not even know and others know. So I'll give you an example of that. The third one is what the world needs. Clearly there needs to be a need for what you're doing, and what you can get paid for, right? So ultimately, if you can get paid for it, then it means that you can continue spreading your magic, right? That's pretty much it. So what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for, okay? So these are the 4 questions that you would answer, essentially, and that would put you a long way ahead in the journey of finding your purpose, okay? Now, I want to give you some practical examples that you can actually compare with when you're doing this exercise yourself. So I thought of using myself, because I've gone through this, but I do find it sometimes just cringe talking about myself all the time. So I'm going to use my sister's example, because I did this exercise with her just about 6 months ago. And then I'll tell you mine as well, because it will help you map out yours, okay? So if we take my sister as an example. So my sister right now, she's 20 years old. She decided that she doesn't want to go to university. Studying was not her thing. And that's totally fine, because it's not for everyone, right? There's a million other things you can do with your life, right? So we sat down and said to her, look, you don't want to study? No big deal, okay? There are so many other things you can do. Let's try and figure out what those are, and what could be a good way, a good direction for you to go in, essentially. So the first question we try to answer was, what do you love? Okay, now with my sister, it's quite obvious, right? She loves hair, nails, makeup. She loves doing it herself, but she follows all these pages on Instagram, and she just loves it. You can just tell when you look at her that this is what she loves, right? And it's important to not overlook this, because when we ask the question, what do you love? We think that we need to look at, where are we spending our time? Where are we giving our attention, essentially? If we're giving our attention on Instagram, right, which a lot of people do right now, what are we looking at? Because it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It doesn't mean scrolling social media is a bad thing. You're probably looking there because it's what you like, ultimately, right? So just don't treat this as a trick question. Just treat it as a very simple question to look at what you like, Where do you spend your time? What do you give your attention to? And you'll have a good understanding. So with her, I'm going to write this down for you, right? So let's just put hair, nails, makeup. Yeah, wrong spelling, I know, okay. Second one is what you're good at. Now, this one definitely get somebody to help you, somebody that's very close to you, okay? So obviously try and answer it yourself as well. But with my sister, one thing that I believe, I can see she's gifted with is something I'm not gifted with, is a very bubbly personality, right? She is this happy-go-lucky girl that's always laughing, and as soon as somebody meets her, she'll put a smile on your face, right? And that is a gift from God, from the universe, right? So I'm just going to put that one thing over here because it is her strongest trait, okay? Then what the world needs, okay? So if we look at these two things, just treat it as simple as possible. What does the world need over here? People do these things to look good. People need to look and feel good, right? People need somebody who is exciting and it's going to make them laugh. These are things the world needs: happiness and looking good. It's obvious, isn't it, right? So we'll just put here, looking good and laughing. And then we answer the question, what can you get paid for, okay? So when you look at this is what she likes, this is her personality, this is what the world needs, it's quite obvious that the first thing she could do is she could become a makeup artist or a nail artist or whatever that may be. So she had all these things in her mind and we try to narrow it down. I asked her, if someone put a gun to your head and you had to choose one, what would you choose? And she chose nails, okay? So we got her on a course and she is now essentially a nail technician, okay? And she's somehow, just by socializing, got an opportunity to work at one of the best salons in Nairobi, which is, it happened just like that in literally 6 months, right? So the point I'm trying to make is when you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, opportunities will come your way, okay? So here she's a nail technician, but this could become anything. She could go on to create a chain of salons. She could create her own nail polish brand, right? I mean, maybe that's 5 or 10 years down the line, but who cares? Is she waking up happy every single day, feeling like she's doing what she wants? Absolutely, absolutely. And the reason I've made this so simple is because it is so simple. It doesn't need to be more difficult than this, right? The problem with us human beings is that we tend to think that it can't be that simple. Life needs to be hard, right? It's not like that. It doesn't need to be like that. So okay, so that's one example. Let me give you my example now, and hopefully this will start to make a bit more sense, okay? So with me, what do I love? It's pretty obvious, right? Meditation, spirituality, and everything surrounding these topics. This is I love it. It's all I read about, it's all I watch, it's all I listen to, and I'm obsessed with it. Okay, so that's pretty clear. What am I good at? Now, this one was difficult for me to answer because I wasn't able to come up with stuff that I'm really good at. Okay, so I did this exercise, I've done it quite a few times, but the most important one I think was I did it 1.5 years ago, and I went to people I used to work with and asked them, what do you think that I'm good at, right? So I went to 2 of my best friends and people I used to work with and said, what do you think I am good at? And I was totally surprised. For all 3 people, these are 3 people that didn't know each other, the number one thing on their list was that I'm a good listener. I would have never come up with that myself. They said that, Rishi, when we speak to you, you are one of the only people that doesn't respond to respond. You basically what they're saying was you don't respond to essentially one up what we are saying. You respond by asking a question about what we're already speaking about. So that makes us feel like you're interested in what we're saying, as opposed to a lot of other people. When you're having a conversation, you say something and the other person just wants to compare their version or their story, which is similar to yours. Okay, so I didn't know that at all. This was a revelation to me. So good listener. And another one is, part of what I love doing is just explaining spiritual concepts in a simple way. I think I'm good at that, and I've been told I'm good at that as well. Okay, so we'll put that down as well. Explaining things simply. Okay, so what the world needs, what does the world need in relation to these things? I mean, in relation to meditation, come on, it's pretty obvious. The world needs peace, healing, right? Peace, healing, less violence, less stress, right? This is the number one killer out there today, stress, right? So it's clear what the world needs in relation to this: less stress, peace, healing, and what can I get paid for? Okay, so again, if we just look at these, even if we just look at both of these, right? What can I get paid for? So if I can explain things simply, can I get paid to teach? Absolutely. Good listener. What is the one thing where you need to be a great listener? Coaching, right? Coaching people on meditation and living their purpose, these type of things, right? So that's what I decided to do. Do you see how natural that is? Do you see how natural that is? Right now, it sounds natural because I've obviously done work on this, but it doesn't have to be difficult, right? And I'm not expecting that you'll do this exercise and essentially find your purpose at the end of this video. No, that's not the point. The point is that you start, and once you start, things will start becoming clear day by day, day by day, day by day, right? But ultimately, when you know what it is, when you have that clarity, you start moving toward it. And when you start moving toward it, your purpose ultimately becomes clearer and clearer. And when you start taking actions toward that, life just becomes, you feel fulfilled. Ultimately, that's the point of this, okay? You feel fulfilled. And that's what I would love for you to do, okay? So this is it. This is my 2 cents on how to find your purpose. You can go much deeper into this, and you will naturally with time. Let me put this out there as well. If you want to, from this video that I do coaching, okay? So if you want to have a chat with me about this and get clarity on your purpose, on how to start this or how to go deeper into this, then you can book a call with me on the website at meditatewithrishi.com. But ultimately, I hope this helped. If you have any questions, put them below. I really hope this helped and you get started with this, okay? Thank you very much. Namaste.